All right, recap on this Putin-Trump meeting in Russia, or as Trump, sorry, Alaska, shows how Trump's perspective is leading up to this. This was under the facade for not only the Trump show, but also the Putinesco show, to keep up the optics, like they're attempting for a ceasefire, like Uncle Pootie couldn't just say, stop for a minute. So this was obviously just to show. The real meat and bones of it was part 2 of the meeting, which was also pretty ridiculous, because it was 3 of Putin's biggest people, the 2 people that were in the White House for the surprise visit the day after James Comey was fired over the TV. Remember that? They showed up in the White House. Yeah, the 2 people. Well, one of them was sitting there 2 seats away from Putin. They were right there. Anyway, it's funny how those circles are so small. But they met without court reporters, without the constitutionally insistent regulatory recorders to make sure no funny business is going on, like every single Donald Trump representing the United States meeting has gone with Kim Jong-un and everyone else over the world. Yeah, no recordings. Against the Constitution, by the way. But anyway, the Art of the Steel guy met with Uncle Vladdy, his big daddy from the Red County, and basically gave over little tiny sections of Alaska for use of Russians, for use freely. Just little tiny pieces, random pieces throughout Alaska. Just because Uncle Vladdy still doesn't recognize the sale of Alaska to the United States, and he has said many times in the past that he wants it back. So that ball's rolling, just saying. And that was despicable, of course. He also insisted that Vladimir Putin wasn't part of the meeting, of course, because they have to lay the groundwork on what they're going to do and how they're going to divide it up and what Uncle Vladdy wants, because that's the marching orders that the United States now has to take as per the Republicans in power. But anyway, as if that wasn't humiliating enough, the American soldiers that were there literally had to go on their hands and knees and roll out a literal red carpet for Vladimir Putin on American soil. Add that to Zelensky having the good side, not the dark side, the light side of the European nations standing up with him, behind him, next to him, aside of him, and fighting back against Trump, against Putin. So the next step on the meeting, which is happening tomorrow, there is word that Trump has demanded that Zelensky show up in a suit, and the European alliance of Ukraine, which is much, much stronger than Trump is giving credit to, and much, much stronger than Russia, will be showing up side by side with Zelensky. And I'm hoping every single one of them are wearing the same thing that Zelensky wears every day. But Donald Trump and his merry band of tyrant assholes has been taking over and trying to dictate what other countries do this entire time. He's trying to tell Ukraine what parts of their own country they're going to give to their invaders. He's trying to work with Putin to keep them from NATO. That is a very, very big thing in the ceasefire agreement. That will never, ever happen. He is putting America in a position to be wedged between the most human dictator schmucktoid on earth in history, and aligning us there instead of where we should be, where we've always been when we are a great country, looking out for other people instead of ourselves. And the power that comes from that, the unity that comes from that, benefits us in a million ways from Sunday. Narcissistic, greedy, con men people don't look at the world that way, so they can't process that. All they see it as is opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. So we have Vladimir Putin setting the ground rules for a ceasefire that'll never happen. We have Donald Trump giving him extended deadlines, giving him more time to continue his remodeling of someone else's country. And at the same time, Donald Trump is messing with the defense that Ukraine relied on from the United States to protect their people. The problem with all of that on the evil side of the plan is the good side of the world sees the schmuckopotamus himself as a threat to everybody, and they all unify and stand up not only with what DJT and his happy band of assholes took away from the good side of the world, but also like doubled, and is making up for it. And now when DJT Turdbucket is trying to further abuse one of the biggest heroes, if not the biggest hero on earth, they're not standing for it. Just like the Republicans trying to cheat in Texas. Yeah, they'll redistrict, they'll get their 5 seats. California says checkmate, nullifies the 5 seats. Another red state does the same thing. Another blue state does the same thing. I recommend the blue states line up. All the possibilities, all the paperwork necessary to have it at the drop of the dime the day before the midterms, the day before the deadline of when they can process that to keep going, boom. Have it ready so if they don't pull the trigger, you don't have to pull the trigger. No worries. But we're protected either way. Let's do that, Democrats. Let's do that. Let's follow in the footsteps of our next president, President Gavin Newsom, and actually watch the checkmate, 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 checkmate of this happy band of dictator, traitorous assholes. Let's do that, because the 99% of us that are putting on music festivals worldwide that are still being suppressed to the point where we don't get to see them, but they are happening. Tens of thousands of people in LA 24 hours a day. Music festival. 24/7, almost 3 weeks now. And you see nothing. And the crowd gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That is the 99% saying enough of this bullshit, we're taking it back.